There we go. We'll go to screen black as we count down from the 2 minutes. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Reborn with the Kansas City Monarchs. Dan Vaughn with you. Glad you're logged on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Another great show for you coming up. We're going to count it down in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. It makes me happy. Those sounds make me happy. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, it's not really anything more than just some crazy arts jazz music, but it makes me happy. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Reborn with the Kansas City Monarchs. My name is Dan Vaughn. Glad you're along. Doing a little production here as we move things along there. Happy middle of February. How about that? I mean, we are, 100 days counting, depending on what part of the, well, if you're, I guess home opener for some clubs is less than 100 days. Other clubs, maybe a little bit more, but we're starting to count down. And for the first time, by the way, Max the dog is right there snoozing. He's assisting me here in the studio. He says hi. By the way, first off, if you hear me thumbs up, that means I know you're hearing me, right? So thumbs up means you're hearing me. Give me a little shout out. I always check, too, to make sure we're doing good. And, well, not sure if we're doing good here, so let's just check it out here. I haven't adjusted my volume in a while, so let me just see here. I hate to do this while we're live on the air, but, sound is pretty important. So, yeah. There we go. Let's see here. Let's just double check if I can hear myself. Oh, I can. So I can hear myself. That's all good. Whew. When you're the one-man band, these kind of things happen. All right, Vaughn, you're bogging down. Let's get this thing going. Lineup cards right here. Got it right here. Featured guest today. I'm really excited about this interview. I have mentioned this man time and time again. I mean, countless times I brought up this name. You're going to see him on our screen right here. I brought up the name of John West. Not my father-in-law, which my father-in-law's name is John West, but this is my dear friend John West, as you see him right there. I call him the man of many hats, and he is that. I don't know why it's doing that twice on the screen for us, but I've talked about him over and over again. You hear me on the road, John West at first base or in the dugout at home. He is such a valuable cog in what we do with the Monarchs. He's just an incredible guy, a baseball lifer. What a story. And the 17 to 18 minutes we chat, we could have gone longer. I mean, I see a show in his future. I mean, this guy, a lot of insight from a guy you've never heard of, really. I mean, you've heard of him, you know the guy, but you haven't really had a chance to get to know him. We're going to do that. And we're going to do that and dive in today. He'll be our featured guest coming up in a few minutes. Also, hot stove news. It's burning hot. It's nothing really. It's not one of those days we're going to look at it and go, wow, that's a big signing. This is not Jan Hernandez. There's little bits and pieces. You're starting to see some roster space open up for Joe's next wave of signees. And we're going to get Joe on next time in 2 weeks. So we'll have a little better idea where the club stands going into March. We'll do that next week, but 2 weeks rather. Also, Monarchs 101 with DV. It's my segment, The Masters Class. We dive into that deep content with our partners, the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum in Kansas City. We'll talk about J.L. Wilkinson Part 2. We discussed him at length last year, and I've kind of glossed over some of the things that really, and especially now with Black History Month and some of the social causes that I believe in, I think he's a great example, and was way ahead of his time in how he saw the world in the big picture. And unfortunately, a lot of folks didn't see it that way at the time, but he was way ahead of his time. Talk about part two of those early years, right before the Monarchs were founded in 1920. We'll do that. And we'll also start this show off. This one is 2 good minutes, right? 2 good minutes with DV. I don't know if I can pull it with 2 minutes. I don't know if that's possible because I just don't know. This is a little longer than 2 minutes, so I won't start the clock just yet. Well, maybe I'll start it and look at it. I don't know. But I wouldn't be able to start it without bringing up this photo right here, okay? And I'll start it, and if it goes down, it goes down. Yeah, you saw the news this week, right? We all saw the news. Greg Taggart, the manager of the Gary South Shore Railcats, was not so much stepping down. He stepped down, but he really took an opportunity in affiliated baseball. He's going to the San Francisco Giants organization, to the rookie complex there, I believe it's in Scottsdale, the Metro Phoenix area, and manage the rookie level club there in what used to be the AZL, but now rookie ball, rookie complex ball. I had the opportunity to spend 4 seasons traveling with Greg in the American Association, and there's no doubt he's one of a kind. Heading to Arizona means that Taggart will no longer have those long bus rides, and I can tell you the bus rides from Texas to Indiana were not short. Day and a half at most. You also won't get a chance to see him sit down next to a rival skipper in Fargo Moorhead with Doug Simonic and just chat for hours about baseball. He would chat with the fans. He's one of those guys that would, before the turnstiles open with the fans, he was there. Gone will be a way of doing things that nobody else in the American Association did, and really all of minor league baseball did. While the casual fan may not have seen this, if you worked in baseball, if you were maybe a play-by-play broadcaster, player, coach, you followed the American Association as a media member, you knew he did things differently. All you had to do was sit in Sioux City's press box and look up to the right, the hill right there, 3 hours before game time, and seeing his pitchers running up and down the hill, up and down the hill, up and down the hill. Some kind of Bear Bryant-esque training camp back in the day. Part of Taggart's legacy was his attention to detail, in every detail. When the Railcats came to town, they were the best dressed uniform. They had the white shoes, they had the tall stirrups, the pinwheel caps, and they looked sharp. They all looked the same. They were a team to the detail. The Railcats were also a team that would work on bunting separately at the batting cage. The batting cage is set up, they're hitting, they're behind the cage in a pitching machine working on bunting, home and away. They drug that pitching machine to work on bunting, home and away. During batting practice, no team did that. They would sprint to the field and actually take pregame infield practice to the shout of, "Let's go Railcats," from their manager. Nobody takes infield practice. Where other teams load up on veterans and former big leaguers, he was not afraid to sign a team full of rookies. His teams were scrappy and would Railcat you their opponents to death. I mean, they would Railcat you to defeat. You look at the roster and wonder how the heck they do it. That roster all full of rookies. It was an attention to the lost art of fundamentals that made his team so dangerous. By the way, the 2 minute can probably bring that down real quick. There we go. Let's do that. I realized the clock had gone to 2 minutes and we were already past 2 minutes. But those scrappy Railcats were something else. After our pregame show tapings every day, he would take the time to share the history of not just the Railcats, but of the American Association, the Northern League, and independent ball in general. He believed that indie ball would be nowhere if not for the pioneering clubs like St. Paul, Winnipeg, and Fargo Moorhead. He understood the sacrifices of so many people, and he always sang the praises of those who came before him. Greg Taggart did everything he did with respect for the game and knowing the special place indie ball has in our sport of baseball. He was all about teaching players how to be a pro, and I can think of no one better than Taggart to lead future Giant stars to their first taste of professional baseball. The love of the game was what drove him year after year. Well, Greg, the league is where it is today due to your example of reverence for the great game. That example has been ingrained in me personally, and I want to thank you for that example. I'm forever grateful for your lessons of what love of this game can do to all of us. We are all pros at loving the game because of you. And that's 2 good minutes with DV right there. Greg Taggart, we'll talk a little bit more about him, some notes in a moment, but I want to share that. I figured, a guy who's traveled the highways and byways with Greg Taggart would insight to a guy who really, really loved the game, and best of wishes, a tip of the cap. And he loved to design caps to Greg Taggart. Another guy who wears a lot of caps, it's John West. John West, again, for you folks that are new to the Monarchs, maybe you're following us from across the country, John West is the man of many hats. Let's just tell you what he does. First base coach on the road, bench coach at home, throws BP, does some fungos, equipment manager, clubhouse manager, the only traveling clubhouse and equipment manager in the league. No one else has this position but the Monarchs. And he's done it for a long time. A great story, a baseball lifer who had a little bit of detour. We'll talk about that as well in the interview to get back to baseball. But without further ado, the man of many hats, it's John West on Reign Reborn with the Kansas City Monarchs. Here we go. Let's do it. I promise. There we go. Reign Reborn with the Kansas City Monarchs continues, and our featured guest this week, I mentioned him in the open, a guy that wears the KC hat and plenty of hats for KC around the metro area as well. John West, let's see here, John, you're a equipment manager, you're a clubhouse manager, you're a bench coach, you're a first base coach. What else do you not do? I mean, you do everything. First off, good to see you. How you doing? Good afternoon to you.
Good. It's good to see you, Dan. I say I'm thrilled to be on here. I say it's been a long time since the season ended, it seemed like, but right around the corner, we're ready to start another season.
We are. And I mentioned all those hats you wear. I don't think, and that's one of the reasons I wanted you on here, is I wanted people to know. I mean, there are a lot of behind the scenes folks, but I have the uttermost respect for you. I mean, there's many a night where I'm leaving the ballpark and I still see your truck out there. Many morning I get there, I think I'm early, and I see your truck out there. First off, to know John West and what he does for the Kansas City Monarchs knows that you spend a lot of time at the ballpark. Do you just live there?
I don't quite live there. I do have a pillow there just in case, but no, this is a retirement job for me, and this is the best retirement job in the world. Professional baseball with the Kansas City Monarchs. I couldn't ask for anything else. The hours are long at times. It's a grind, but the good thing is I have a whole staff that is willing to pitch in and help out. And for the most part, everything runs like clockwork.
You mentioned retirement because for retirement, you're a pretty busy guy. I mean, you're doing some high school coaching. You obviously all the Monarchs things, but tell the fans what you used to do before you became into this baseball world.
Well, in 1978, I was asked by a friend of mine in junior high if I wanted to go out and work a Royals game as a bat boy. And of course, I was thrilled to death. Went out there, started in 1978, and a bat boy for the Kansas City Royals until 1984. At that time, I went to college for a year and a half and was hired with the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department in 1986 and did 27 years with them and retired in 2012. And then that next year in the spring of 2013, the then Kansas City T-Bones, I was hired to run the clubhouse.
John West is the voice. I'm Dan Vaughn. The show is Reign Reborn with the Kansas City Monarchs. I've seen John. I've been there since 17, but I've met you, knew you prior, and I always admired the fact that the Kansas City franchise, you mentioned the then T-Bones and now the Monarchs, we're in a unique position because in the minor leagues, you don't have a lot of guys like you that really do it all. I think it's a really, really cool deal. Your thoughts on a guy that really does it all? I mean, a lot of teams don't have this. We're really fortunate to have this. Has that dawned on you?
Yeah, I mean, I look at it as a job I go to every day that I thoroughly enjoy. The people I work with are outstanding. The staff we have now and have had for the last 4 or 5 years, I lose track of the years. They seem to run together. But with Joe in charge and then the new ownership and Jay as a GM, I love coming to work every day. I'm sad when September gets there and the season ends. Love the way it ends last year, but when it ends, then I have to go back and I work at the high school during the off season. I coach girls softball in the fall and girls basketball in the winter. I enjoy that job, but it's nothing like working in baseball.
It's a great life. You mentioned Joe, but I was going to ask you about your job description. I'm going to go ahead and bounce around here. Joe Cathpietra. I think we all have similar feelings about him. I asked the players, staff, and new folks that come to our organization get to know him. What a special guy he is. Talk about that relationship. Tell me about how that relationship's evolved, because you guys are pretty close.
Well, when he got hired, I'm not sure what he thought, but when I found out that he was a new hire, new manager, I obtained his email address and I sent him an email explaining who I was, what I did, and I was looking forward to being on his staff. Now, whether I was ever considered to be on the staff before that or not, I have no idea, but he responded. We got together over the phone a couple times, met in person for the first time that spring that he was hired. And since then, it's been like a brotherhood. He is the most family-oriented guy. Every player that comes into the organization absolutely loves him. He bends over backwards for every player, every staff member. I can't speak highly enough of him. He is a man that you want to work for.
There's no doubt. And I know I talked to players I had on the last show, had former former Monarch. I did it there. I hadn't done that in 2 years. Former Monarch, Morgan McCullough on. We're talking about relationships with the manager. And you see this. I know you see this, but I want to get your thoughts and your comments on this. The tireless work that he does for his players. I don't think people realize that he's a champion for these guys. He wants them to go chase those major league dreams. He's making the phone calls. He's shooting the emails. He's sending the highlights. He's doing those things. He is tirelessly trying to get his guys out of town and bring in the next wave. He has a special culture with that, isn't he?
He works nonstop. During the winter, I know he's on the phone constantly, trying to acquire players, trying to get them to the next level. Once the season starts, his goal is always the Monarchs to be successful, but his goal is for the players to get back into affiliate baseball. And I think he's proven that over the last 4 or 5 years of how many guys have been able to get back onto the affiliate side. And vast majority of the reason is he is motivated, that's his job, is to get them back in that position.
The voice is John West. I'm Dan Vaughn. We're talking Kansas City Monarchs baseball here on Rain Reborn with the Kansas City Monarchs. John, a guy that you're probably going, wait, I know the name. John is the guy that if you watch the road games, coaching first base, you watch home games, he's in that dugout most of the time, unless Frank's not there that night. He's there at first base. He can be seen pushing the equipment in and out, and he can be seen throwing BP, a little everything. With that being said, your job description is pretty vast. So a typical day, I would think, would be a loaded question. But I'm going to ask you anyway, a typical day, you just really do it all. What is a typical day like for you at the ballpark?
Typical day, usually I get to the ballpark between 9 and 10 o'clock in the morning. The uniforms that were laundered the night before, I make sure they get hung back in the lockers. Get the food out for the players, make sure the clubhouse has been straightened up. I have a couple of guys that work for me. Most of the time, they stay till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning doing the laundry for not only our team, but the visiting team and the umpires. And then I come in the next day and just kind of get everything put away and get set up for BP, get all the water down for BP, make sure we have the balls down there, and then go down and hit. A lot of fun goes during batting practice.
You also take care of the visiting team. I mean, people don't realize that as well. I don't think that when the visiting team rolls in, let's just say it's, Winnipeg rolls in at 3 a.m., you've got to make arrangements for them as well. What do you do responsibility-wise for the visiting team?
I have a vast amount of numbers in my phone, and I reach out to whatever team's coming in the night before, a couple of days before, and they usually call me and let me know about what time they'll be to the hotel.
Right.
At that time, if it's 3 o'clock in the morning and we're home, I get up, I drive to the stadium, go to the hotel, grab their laundry, and get their laundry done and get it hung. And then usually if it's 3, 4, 5 in the morning, I'll just stay at the ballpark and get our stuff ready. And then once their stuff's dry, get all their stuff hung in their lockers. They're treated the same as our guys. We do their laundry. We provide them food. We provide them a post-game meal. They're treated no differently than what our guys are treated.
And that's important too, because we go on the road. You're with us on the road. And so what we do in Kansas City, how we treat the visitors, Winnipeg, Sioux City, whoever, it also reflects on how we get treated on the road. So it's very important that we do our job at home because you're with us on the road. You mentioned Joe, but I was going to ask you about your job description. I'm going to go ahead and bounce around here. Joe Kaufpietra. I think we all have similar feelings about him. I asked the players, staff, and new folks that come to our organization get to know him. What a special guy he is. Talk about that relationship. Tell me about how that relationship's evolved because you guys are pretty close.
Well, when he got hired, I'm not sure what he thought, but when I found out that he was a new hire, new manager, I obtained his email address and I sent him an email explaining who I was, what I did, and I was looking forward to being on his staff. Now, whether I was ever considered to be on the staff before that or not, I have no idea, but he responded. We got together over the phone a couple times, met in person for the first time that spring that he was hired. And since then, it's been like a brotherhood. He is the most family-oriented guy. Every player that comes into the organization absolutely loves him. He bends over backwards for every player, every staff member. I can't speak highly enough of him. He is a man that you want to work for.
There's no doubt, and I know I talked to players I had on the last show, had former former Monarch, I did it there, I hadn't done that in 2 years, former Monarch Morgan McCullough on. We're talking about relationships with the manager, and you see this, I know you see this, but I want to get your thoughts and your comments on this, the tireless work that he does for his players. I don't think people realize that he's a champion for these guys. He wants them to go chase those major league dreams. He's making the phone calls. He's shooting the emails. He's sending the highlights. He's doing those things. He is tirelessly trying to get his guys out of town and bring in the next wave. He has a special culture with that, isn't he?
He works nonstop. During the winter, I know he's on the phone constantly, trying to acquire players, trying to get them to the next level. Once the season starts, his goal is always the Monarchs to be successful, but his goal is for the players to get back into affiliate baseball. And I think he's proven that over the last 4 or 5 years of how many guys have been able to get back onto the affiliate side. And vast majority of the reason is he is motivated, that's his job, is to get them back in that position.
The voice is John West. I'm Dan Vaughn. We're talking Kansas City Monarchs baseball here on Rain Reborn with the Kansas City Monarchs. John, a guy that you're probably going, wait, I know the name. John is the guy that if you watch the road games, coaching first base, you watch home games, he's in that dugout most of the time, unless Frank's not there that night. He's there at first base. He can be seen pushing the equipment in and out, and he can be seen throwing BP, a little everything. With that being said, your job description is pretty vast. So a typical day, I would think, would be a loaded question. But I'm going to ask you anyway, a typical day, you just really do it all. What is a typical day like for you at the ballpark?
Typical day, usually I get to the ballpark between 9 and 10 o'clock in the morning. The uniforms that were laundered the night before, I make sure they get hung back in the lockers. Get the food out for the players, make sure the clubhouse has been straightened up. I have a couple of guys that work for me. Most of the time, they stay till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning doing the laundry for not only our team, but the visiting team and the umpires. And then I come in the next day and just kind of get everything put away and get set up for BP, get all the water down for BP, make sure we have the balls down there.
Apparently, we're having a little issue here. And you guys, I don't know why. Brian, I apologize. Carolyn, I apologize. Very frustrating, to be honest with you. I'm a one-man band. These are the tools that I have. These are out of my own pocket, and I'm trying my darndest, and I'm doing the hardest I can do. And I do apologize. I don't know what's going on, but we apparently had a little bit of that last time, and I thought it was taken care of. Let me do this. I'm going to try something because I want to get the rest of this on, but let me try something and see if it'll work, because I can do a little flipping around here. Again, the show's Reborn with the Kansas City Monarchs. Dan Vaughn with you. I really want the story to get out. I really want you to hear from John. So just bear with me. I'm going to try to cue it up again a different way, and see if that works. We just give me a moment here. Let's see here how I can do this. Let's do this. Give me just a moment, and we'll try it again. I think this will work. I've got it right here. Let me kind of. I know where we were. I believe some of y'all heard the typical day and all that, but I want to get the whole thing. All right, give me just a moment here. Let's try this. Very frustrating. You don't if you know me and know this is what I do. Okay, this is what I do for a living, and this is one of the reasons that I get very frustrated when I can't even describe to you how angry I am right now. I mean, I'm smiling, but I'm pissed that this stuff's going on, and I apologize. You guys deserve a better show than this. So let me see if I can fix it. I'm going to do something called screen share, which you guys have all probably done this on a Zoom call. I'm going to do this and see if it'll work. I think it will. Just give me just a moment here if I can find it. Yeah, let me see here. Let's get this window. I don't want that one. How am I going to do this? Let's see here. All right, I've got it there. Again, I've been doing this show with we have technical difficulties all the time. I'm not saying that, but second time, yeah, Brian, again, I apologize. Let me see how I can do this. Let me try. Let's do this. And maybe it will not be trouble. Let's try that. How about that? Let me dismiss. Let me pull this up. And let me try that. Okay, let me try something. Let's do this. Give me just a moment here. I've got it sort of set in now. I'm going to screen share it, and we'll try it that way. I'm going to bring this down, and I'm going to try it again. And now some of you folks that are just joining us, again, I do apologize as you're having to hear this for the second time, but we'll go ahead. I believe, and let me know, Brian, if you'll let me know who's out there. If you'll let me know if you're hearing it again, because I'd like to, definitely do that. So I'm going to just share this off of YouTube. I'm going to bring this screen down. This is a great tutorial for you guys. You want to learn how to do BeLive software. This is a great way to do it. I'm going to take all this off, and there we go. Yeah, and I appreciate it very, very much, Mom, but you don't have to say that. This is my job. This is what I'm supposed to do, and it's inexcusable, to be honest with you. But I mean, I'm not going to make excuses. So, all right, let's bring the screen up. So we're going to go to YouTube now, and I'm going to try it this way and see if this will work. So I'm going to try it this way. I'm going to see. Let me know if you guys are getting this properly. Let's try it again. Reborn with the Kansas City Monarchs continues, and our featured guest this week, I mentioned him in the open, a guy that wears the KC hat and plenty of hats for KC around the metro area as well. John West, let's see here, John, you're a equipment manager, you're a clubhouse manager, you're a bench coach, you're a first base coach. What else do you not do? I mean, you do everything. First off, good to see you. How you doing? Good afternoon to you.
Good. It's good to see you, Dan. I say I'm thrilled to be on here. I say it's been a long time since the season ended, it seemed like, but right around the corner, we're ready to start another season.
We are. And I mentioned all those hats you wear. I don't think, and that's one of the reasons I want you on here, is I wanted people to know. I mean, there are a lot of behind the scenes folks, but I have the uttermost respect for you. I mean, there's many a night where I'm leaving the ballpark and I still see your truck out there. Many morning I get there, I think I'm early, and I see your truck out there. First off, to know John West and what he does for the Kansas City Monarchs knows that you spend a lot of time at the ballpark. Do you just live there?
I don't quite live there. I do have a pillow there just in case, but no, this is a retirement job for me, and this is the best retirement job in the world. Professional baseball with the Kansas City Monarchs. I couldn't ask for anything else. The hours are long at times. It's a grind, but the good thing is I have a whole staff that is willing to pitch in and help out, and for the most part, everything runs like clockwork.
You mentioned retirement because you are, I mean, for retirement, you're a pretty busy guy. I mean, you're doing some high school coaching, you obviously all the Monarchs things, but tell the fans what you used to do before you became into this baseball world.
Well, in 1978, I was asked by a friend of mine in junior high if I wanted to go out and work a Royals game as a bat boy. And of course, I was thrilled to death. Went out there, started in 1978, and a bat boy for the Kansas City Royals until 1984. At that time, I went to college for a year and a half and was hired with the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department in 1986 and did 27 years with them and retired in 2012. And then that next year in the spring of 2013, the then Kansas City T-Bones, I was hired to run the clubhouse.
John West is the voice. I'm Dan Vaughn. The show is Reborn with the Kansas City Monarchs. I've seen John. I've been there since 17, but I've met you, knew you prior, and I always admired the fact that the Kansas City franchise, you mentioned the then T-Bones and now the Monarchs, we're in a unique position because in the minor leagues, you don't have a lot of guys like you that really do it all. I think it's a really, really cool deal. Your thoughts on a guy that really does it all? I mean, a lot of teams don't have this. We're really fortunate to have this. Has that dawned on you?
Yeah, I mean, I look at it as a job I go to every day that I thoroughly enjoy. The people I work with are outstanding. The staff we have now and have had for the last 4 or 5 years, I lose track of the years. They seem to run together. But with Joe in charge and then the new ownership and Jay as a GM, I love coming to work every day. I'm sad when September gets there and the season ends. Love the way it ends last year, but when it ends, then I have to go back and I work at the high school during the off season. I coach girls softball in the fall and girls basketball in the winter. I enjoy that job, but it's nothing like working in baseball.
It is. It's a great life. You mentioned Joe, but I was going to ask you about your job description. I'm going to go ahead and bounce around here. Joe Kaufpietra. I think we all have similar feelings about him. I asked the players, staff, and new folks that come to our organization, get to know him. What a special guy he is. Talk about that relationship. Tell me about how that relationship's evolved, because you guys are pretty close.
Well, when he got hired, I'm not sure what he thought, but when I found out that he was a new hire, a new manager, I obtained his email address and I sent him an email explaining who I was, what I did, and I was looking forward to being on his staff. Now, whether I was ever considered to be on the staff before that or not, I have no idea, but he responded. We got together over the phone a couple times, met in person for the first time that spring that he was hired, and since then, it's been like a brotherhood. He is the most family-oriented guy. Every player that comes into the organization absolutely loves him. He bends over backwards for every player, every staff member. I can't speak highly enough of him. He is a man that you want to work for. There's
no doubt. And I know I talked to players I had on the last show, had former former Monarch. I did it there. I hadn't done that in 2 years. Former Monarch, Morgan McCullough on. We're talking about relationships with the manager. And you see this. I know you see this, but I want to get your thoughts and your comments on this. The tireless work that he does for his players. I don't think people realize that he's a champion for these guys. He wants them to go chase those major league dreams. He's making the phone calls. He's shooting the emails. He's sending the highlights. He's doing those things. He is tirelessly trying to get his guys out of town and bring in the next wave. He has a special culture with that, isn't he?
He works nonstop. During the winter, I know he's on the phone constantly, trying to acquire players, trying to get them to the next level. Once the season starts, his goal is always the Monarchs to be successful, but his goal is for the players to get back into affiliate baseball. And I think he's proven that over the last 4 or 5 years of how many guys have been able to get back onto the affiliate side. And vast majority of the reason is he is motivated, that's his job, is to get them back in that position.
The voice is John West. I'm Dan Vaughn. We're talking Kansas City Monarchs baseball here on Reborn with the Kansas City Monarchs. John, a guy that you're probably going, wait, I know the name. John is the guy that if you watch the road games, coaching first base, you watch home games, he's in that dugout most of the time, unless Frank's not there that night. He's there at first base. He can be seen pushing the equipment in and out, and he can be seen throwing BP, a little everything. With that being said, your job description is pretty vast. So a typical day, I would think, would be a loaded question. But I'm going to ask you anyway, a typical day, you just really do it all. What is a typical day like for you at the ballpark?
Typical day, usually I get to the ballpark between 9 and 10 o'clock in the morning. The uniforms that were laundered the night before, I make sure they get hung back in the lockers, get the food out for the players, make sure the clubhouse has been straightened up. I have a couple of guys that work for me. Most of the time, they stay till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning doing the laundry for not only our team, but the visiting team and the umpires. And then I come in the next day and just kind of get everything put away and get set up for BP, get all the water down for BP, make sure we have the balls down there, and then go down and hit a lot of fungos during batting practice.
You also take care of the visiting team. I mean, people don't realize that as well. I don't think that when the visiting team rolls in, let's just say it's, Winnipeg rolls in at 3 a.m., you've got to make arrangements for them as well. What do you do responsibility-wise for the visiting team?
I have a vast amount of numbers in my phone, and I reach out to whatever team's coming in the night before, a couple of days before, and they usually call me and let me know about what time they'll be to the hotel.
Right.
At that time, if it's 3 o'clock in the morning and we're home, I get up, I drive to the stadium, go to the hotel, grab their laundry, and get their laundry done and get it hung. And then usually if it's 3, 4, 5 in the morning, I'll just stay at the ballpark and get our stuff ready. And then once their stuff's dry, get all their stuff hung in their lockers. They're treated the same as our guys. We do their laundry. We provide them food. We provide them a post-game meal. They're treated no differently than what our guys are treated.
And that's important too, because we go on the road. You're with us on the road. And so what we do in Kansas City, how we treat the visitors, Winnipeg, Sioux City, whoever, it also reflects on how we get treated on the road. So it's very important that we do our job at home because you're with us on the road.
Sure. And I think a vast majority of the teams do a fantastic job of treating the visiting team well. We stay at nice hotels. The clubhouses are what they are.
Right.
You make do with what you have. But in regard to the food, the laundry, things like that, we're well treated on the road I want to be treated on the road the same way that I treat the guys when they come into town.
Here's a fun one. I know when I walk in the clubhouse there, you've got your snack wall. You got all the snacks. It's Pop-Tarts and cookies and whatever. What's the one that you just can't run out of? Is there anything you can't run out of because the guys, dang it, they've got to have that snack before the ball game? You got to always have extra on hand?
Potato chips, like Pringles chips, a lot of times. Pop-Tarts are popular items.
Yes.
And fruit snacks.
Right.
Those are 3 of the things that you don't want to run out of.
Right. A little grocery bill. Those boys can eat too, so it's a little grocery bill there. We're talking with John West. John is a lot of hats: coach, equipment manager, clubhouse manager, all the above, and really a Monarchs supporter 100%. And I want to dive into the Monarchs season from 2021. I've asked this to several. I asked this to Joe. I've asked this to Morgan. At what point did you look up and say, this club has got a really good chance? Was there a point for you in the season that you thought, man, this is something special?
I would say after about the first month of the season, you saw what kind of talent we had, and it was just a matter of a few pieces here and there that we were gonna be able to be dominant. In regard, home runs, unbelievable.
Right.
Runs scored, unbelievable. Pitching, great job. I would say about 4 weeks in, all of a sudden you're thinking, wow, this is quite the team. And then, of course, affiliate comes, picks up players. Joe does what he does,
Right.
Gets guys to replace, and we stayed right on track.
Yeah, we did. There's no doubt we did. One more guy that we haven't really talked about a lot in the air, but I talk about a little bit in the air. Bill Sobey. Bill and you guys go back, and I love it. I'm going to kind of set the scene for you, and then you can kind of comment, because the bus is, driver, in this case last year, Casey, strong, phenomenal guy. Then you've got Joe in one seat, and the left side is Bill, and then there's you, and then there's me. We're all kind of like that. But you and Bill have built a pretty good relationship too. Former bullpen catcher for the Royals, just a baseball aficionado. Your thoughts on Bill Sobey? I mean, he's a heck of a piece to have in that clubhouse.
Bill is a legend in the Northland, to say the least. Longtime teacher, administrator, North Kansas City School District, Park Hill School District, longtime basketball official in the all over the Kansas City metro area. He and I go back to the days of 1984 with the Royals. Just all out. He's at Park University now in the off season, coaching up there. Just an all around great guy, fun to be around. Dry sense of humor, but he knows. If you want to ask a guy about baseball, he knows everything there is to know about baseball.
Oh man, no doubt. Those bus rides are fun. I mean, like I said, that's kind of the description. Joe in one seat, we're all sitting there. But I love, and this is got to pull the curtain back. And I don't know how you are, but as I would think you're probably the same boat here. But you mentioned you miss it. I do miss it in the wintertime. Riding with you guys on a Sunday afternoon from one city to another after a day game, and just the banter back and forth. There's a certain family that you mentioned earlier. It is a family because you're with these guys all the time. You can't help but get close. Do you get the same family feeling that I get in the off season when I miss those guys?
Oh, there's no doubt. There's 2 or 3 guys I text with during the off season. My wife and I were in Tucson in October. We hooked up with Ryan Grosjean and to play some golf. We go down and if I go to a city and I know, hey, there's a guy that used to play for us, I'll give him a call. Casey Barnes down in Phoenix a couple years ago, called him up, and we had dinner at Garcia's in Phoenix, Arizona. So yeah, there's definitely relationships that you make over the years with guys that you stay in contact with.
Well, you're good, because I was going to ask you any favorites, and I guess Casey Barnes would be one of them over the years. I'm not just talking Monarchs, but anybody else stand out that you just go, man, that was just one guy that I really enjoyed as a person, a player, both maybe?
Oh, I mean, there's so many. I mean, there's a lot of guys. They seem to come and go fast, but there's guys that you definitely get closer to than others. But it's still a working relationship. But in the off season, like I said, it's fun to be able to travel around the country and see different guys every once in a while that had played, whether it was a year ago or 5 years ago or 8 years ago.
Hobbies for you. You like music, don't you? You're like a concert guy. Am I right on that?
I'm a big concert guy.
Now, let's have a little fun with this. Now, you and I went to the Doobie Brothers. I mentioned that in the last show. We went to the Doobie Brothers. Right now, you can see anybody out there that you would want to see right now in concert. Is anybody out that you say, man, if that person came rolling through, I'm stopping down?
REO Speedwagon.
All right.
They're coming to town, and we're going to be out of town that weekend.
Oh,
so I'm not
man.
going to get to see them.
No.
REO Speedwagon, Styx, and Kiss.
There you go.
I saw Kiss a couple years ago.
All 3 would be on my list as well, my friend.
Yes.
All 3. Final things around third head for home. Here talking to John West with the Monarchs, the man who really does do it all. The Monarchs. You're a Kansas City guy. You mentioned former police officer there in Casey, Missouri. Royals employee, but the Monarchs, that's a special name. You as a KC guy, how special is that name, the Monarchs, and that legacy?
It is a legacy like no other. I've been to the museum, countless times. In 2004, I made arrangements with Buck O'Neill to go down and take the North Kansas City High School baseball team down there to tour the stadium or tour the museum. While we were there, Buck came out, introduced himself, and talked to the high school baseball players. And our 2004 baseball poster, he's in the team poster with us. So that was a special moment. Just the memorabilia, the history behind it if you haven't been to the museum, you need to get down to 18th and Vine and go to the museum.
Amen.
It doesn't take real long to go through,
No.
but there are a ton of things to see, and you will be amazed at what these guys went through during their careers, from hotels to buses to housing. All that is done in the museum, and it's a must see.
Yeah, I say it all the time, and I mentioned this 2 weeks ago when I was in KC at the 1 year anniversary of the brand. If you're following this ball club and you're not going to the museum, then you're not following the ball club. You must go. I think that's a big thing, and you're right on there. One more thing, a little fun thing before we close out.
It's very upsetting that happened twice today, and you deserve better. I will work my tail off to fix it, and I'm pissed, quite frankly, that we can't seem to pull off a show without nonsense. Very frustrating. But anyway, glad you're back. I want to try to fight through this because we replayed the interview twice. We're running out of time here. I don't want to go too much longer, but I want to get to a couple things. And John mentioned, and I'm going to pull the screen down again. You missed all you missed was the last minute and a half, but I can tell you this: you can hear the entire interview on the podcast, which I promise will be up within hours. It'll be up first thing in the morning, but I'll have it up this afternoon. You can get a sneak peek on our podcast as well. I'll tweet a link out as well, and the entire interview gives a very tail end. He thanks the fans as well for their time. But again, you can, and also this interview will be on the YouTube channel archived, and I put the whole thing in there. It'll be up there probably tomorrow. So you want to watch the whole thing. And I do apologize for the technical difficulties we had. John and I were talking, and at the time, I'm going to bring this down so I want you guys to see the whole screen here. This is pretty cool. If I can do it here. There we go. These are, he mentioned the Buck O'Neil in the museum with I believe it was 2006, I believe, when they went down there. North Kansas City High School, the Hornets went down there. I'm looking at my notes here, but I believe that's correct. They went down there 2006. Yeah, 2006. And Buck O'Neil came out, and there's the poster. I'm going to give you the whole poster here. And John kind of have to send me these photos. That's the poster right there. And there's another. I'll give you, yeah, Brett, I'll give that in a moment. I'll introduce you to Max in just a moment. Here is this one right here is, yeah, that's it. What's my dog's name? That's Max. That's Max. Yeah, it was going so well, Carolyn. Again, I apologize. I am just, just, I again, I'll get that in a moment. But there you go. That's Buck O'Neill. That's the coaching staff. There's John on the right. And they're the coaches, and John, courtesy of John West right there. This is in 2006. It was at the museum. And I've got one more here. I believe this is one. Yeah, one more here. This is the entire team right there. And you can see Buck right in the middle. And the bottom pick is Dylan, who is you can't Dylan. If you know Dylan West, he is not that little anymore. He's right in the middle by home plate. He must have been oh gosh, how old was he then? He was young. As he's what is he? 2006. If he was, I'm doing my math here. He's obviously middle 20s, right? Something like that. But that's when he was with the team as the bat boy. Then they all were with right there with Buck O'Neill. Really good stuff there. Appreciate that. There all those pictures are. And thanks to John for getting those to us. And really cool stuff. And a great story right there of going to the museum and seeing Buck O'Neill. Yeah, it was going well. Again, I'm not going to make excuses because it's all on me, okay? That's all I'm going to say. But if you only knew the battle that I go through, then you might give me a little leeway, okay? Rain Reborn with the Kansas City Monarchs. We got to get going here because we've got a lot to get to in a short time to get there. Smokey the Bandit, right? Let's roll the hot stove really quickly here, okay? Let's jump right into it. Hot stove time, really fast. Going to just bolt through it. I was going to put pictures up and grab it. So let's go through it and get you caught up where the team is hot stove wise here. And by the way, thanks to John West for taking the time. Again, there's a lot more stories there and two really good ones. The one about getting the job with Joe Calpietra and the Buck O'Neill story, two great ones. Okay, Monarchs making some moves. Yesterday, Nick Travieso, a great reclamation project, former first-round pick with the Cincinnati Reds, had a really good year. I was able to stay healthy the entire year. And I remember talking to Nick too. He was telling me during the postseason, he fought through and got through the whole season, regular season, healthy. He loved this experience. He had fun again, really found baseball again. I'm going to reach out to Nick and find out what his plans are. And I think Joe will give us a clue as well when Joe joins us in a couple of weeks. But Nick Travieso released from the ball club. Gunnar Groen, via Pepperdine, true rookie last year, was a nice find as well, was traded to Sussex County in the Frontier League for a player to be named later. Joe's had some back and forth with Sussex County over the years, so it's not really a huge surprise. Oh, can I do something cool? Do you guys want to do something cool? Let's do something cool. Hold on, let's do this cool. This is kind of cool. I can do this, okay? So this is me doing this. This is something I can do. Let's try it, see what'll work here. Yep, there we go. Isn't that cool? A hot stove right behind me. There you go. By the way, the dog is Max. He's back here. He's awesome. He's greatness. He loves KC. Let's see here. The club also released Charcer Burks. Burks was a great find. Do you remember the road trip Cleburne to Gary? And the club lost three stars. Dylan Baker and Gary lost Eric Stout and Cleburne, the 1-2 starter, after losing King Bostic opening night for opening day. Your rotation was, and this is where John was talking about reloading over and over again, something Joe Calpietra's done. Well, he reloaded with a guy like Charcer Burks, and Charcer came in, eventually becoming a center fielder, able to move Ryan Grotjohn back into the infield, moving some pieces around. Burks was a nice find, played 63 ball games, hit 286. I believe he had, 7 of 7 at Ronald McDonald House stolen bases. He was that same day. Remember, Burks came in. Alexis Almeida was picked up because remember, Daniel Wassinger got hurt. Remember, Morgan McCullough was having to catch. The club was really thin there and having to just find you're getting healthy bodies and he's getting enough bodies, but Joe doing what Joe does. And that was that stretch in Gary where the club got those three pieces. And also Elroy Urbina, who was a big piece in the bullpen, joined the ball club all the same day when we arrived in Gary after the off day in Texas or on the way up. But Burks was released by the ball club. It doesn't mean they won't be back, but what it's doing here is creating some roster space with Ryan Grosjean and Morgan McCullough now with the Royals organization, and you've got Treviso's spot and got a growing spot in charge of Burks. That's 5. The roster was getting a little crowded. You only take, I believe you want to have spots and flexibility. And Joe's got some flexibility now to take those bodies, the 28 into spring training. And, it's going to be a busy spring training. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. There'll be a lot of extra work going on because you've also got the Savannah Bananas thing going on. So there's going to be all kinds of moving parts. And I think Joe having some flexibility and knowing where you stand. And I also think you're seeing perhaps, and it'll be interesting to talk to Joe about this, what the big league situation, which is now trickled down the minor leagues. The minor league camps are opening here in a couple of weeks. Has that also affected some of his thinking as well, going through it? Will there be more jobs or fewer jobs? Who's going to be out there? Will there be more AAA players? My guess is there'll be more veterans out there who may wait around because there's not the veteran guys want a chance to go to camp and win a job. You can't go to camp in the big leagues and win a job if they're not a big league camp. And they may find themselves sort of, okay, I'm going to go to Kansas City and play. And I think Joe wants a little flexibility, but Joe's always moving, as John was telling us, keeps that thing going, and he's always on top of things. One more thing. I mentioned Eric Stout last week. I had a great run, pitcher of the year in Puerto Rico, the Roberto Clemente League down there for Maguez, for the Maguez de Indios, or de Indios de Maguez. Is that right? De Indios Maguez. Yeah, that's what he said. Come on, Vaughn, learn your Spanish. Eric also was picked up. The team that beat them went on to the Caribbean World Series down there, and he was picked up to pitch for the Puerto Rican team and pitched very good in his one outing down there. He was charged with a hard luck loss and a 3-2 loss, going 5 2/3. But after some early first inning trouble, worked. I guess he gave 4. It was 5 scoreless innings after that first 2 outs in the first inning, and he was very good. Puerto Rico did not move on, though. They were eliminated in pool play. And just to kind of give you what happens in the Caribe series down there, all those teams from the Caribbean lock up in a round robin. It's the champions of Panama, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Cuba, Mexico, Venezuela, Colombia. I'm missing somebody here. I know I'm missing somebody. Anyway, all the baseball playing countries in the Caribbean play in this series. Was in the Dominican Republic and Santo Domingo, and I believe it was won by Panama. I'm sorry, I believe by Colombia, and of course, a little connection there as well from years gone by. If you guys remember, it was 2019, I believe it was 2019. Yeah, 2019 when Christian Correa played for the team in Colombia as well. So, yes, I'm going to get to that. Great question, though, Brian. And by the way, questions and comments, we round third, head for home. I'm going to squeeze in a Monarchs 101 with DB in just a moment as well. But I'll just segue to that. It's a great question, Brian. I do have that for you. Let me bring the hot stove update down and go to the update from the field, because, yes, some field work being done. Great question. What is going on with the field? Well, if you follow the KC, there we go, you know that we have the grass infield. Well, that is no longer. And I'll give you some pictures as well. These coming from social media. You can check these out on our Facebook page. But a couple of items, and you can see them here. The infield is going back to dirt. So they're going to move the dirt back. Yeah, let there be dirt. As the dirt is coming back, you can see them already tearing it out. I don't know if you can make that out there, Brian. Can you see it right there? I think you can see it. There you go. Look, there's the equipment right there in the middle of the screen. You can see they've already tore up the grass on the left side. So that's definitely going to happen, and it's in the progress right now. There'll be a dirt infield coming up, being redone. It'll be brand new. That'll all be coming up this coming season. So good news there. I'll give you one more shot of it as well from a little bit of a different angle. But here we go. Here's one from a little bit different angle. There we go. That's for the press box right there. And you can see right there where they've torn up that stretch between first and second and third. They've gone in and taken that little machine that kind of turns it over, and they're going to be putting dirt down, and that'll be coming up very, very soon. So great work right there by the ball club and the city and a unified government as well. So Field of Green coming. We're going to get Field of Green, fields of green, skies of blue. Yeah, well, I'll be here all week, folks. So anyway, good question. I'll take your questions and comments. We'll get you set up for the final segment here of the show. And it's Monarchs one. There's Max. It's Max right there. Max the dog. He is in position there as he kind of just does his thing. He hears me talking, so he knows something good's going on. As long as I'm not like yelling at the TV screen, he knows that things are going on good. So let's do this here real quick. Sorry about that. We got to get a little Monarchs 101 with DV going here. I had this all organized, but then we had the technical meltdowns, and so I had to sort of scramble just a bit to get these done earlier. So here we go. Let me see if I can find this for you. Anyway, we've been talking about, of course, this is the content, and I, as I said in the interview with John, if you're not going to the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum in Kansas City, then I don't know what you're doing. You can't live in KC and follow this ball club and not hit the museum. You got to. And at some point, get down there, check it out. And let me get this. All right. Well, everybody, you didn't miss anything. You missed John West, which was a great interview, I think. And you missed that. And let me do this real quickly here, guys. I'm sorry. I messed my whole system up when we went to scramble mode a moment ago. I messed my whole system up. So you guys have to stick with me here as Vaughn kind of stammers and stews here through all the all this nonsense. Here we go. Nope. Yeah, well. There we go. All right, here we go. You missed John West. You missed the hot stove update. You missed the fact that grass is going away in the infield, so dirt's coming back, Kevin. Yes, Brett, I'm a ball cap addict like you. I am. Let's see over my shoulder, Brett. We've got Old Lincoln. We've got Adelaide. We've got a Rail Cats. I got a Perth Heat. I got a bar in Michigan. We've got, I can't remember what that, the one of them, the blue bill, the light blue bill, like a Royals color blue. That is a ball club in Adelaide. T-Bones, Rangers, Texas Tech, baseball girl. Team Spencer is the maroon bill with the light blue Royals blue is Team Spencer, which is a charity I'm a very big part of in Australia, Perth Heat and Texas Tech. And they line actually, and maybe we'll do this next time, Brett. I'll give you a whole tour. I've got Monarchs here, Monarchs there. All around me, I've got some cricket, Rough Riders, Melbourne Aces, Perth. So yes, a cap addict, but got the good one right here. So yes, sir. Yes, Kevin, check out the podcast. The podcast will be up. It's going to be up 5 a.m., but I'll have it up before then. So if you go to Buzzsprout, you'll be able to find it then. I'll give you that as well. Brett says he's got 200 caps, Independent Collegiate League, and shirts. Now, I've got a collection of shirts. You heard me mention this to John, not just the ones John's given me, but also over the years. And I'll give you a quick story. I was out in West Texas with my mother a couple weeks ago in a family storage unit, some old stuff, and I won't go into all that, but dusting off all this West Texas dirt. I found 2 Charleston Wheelers caps I gave my brother when he was in college. It was the first job I had out of college. And the Wheelers don't exist anymore, and the South Atlantic League doesn't exist anymore, and the ballpark doesn't exist anymore, and those caps didn't look like they existed much anymore either. But I did find a couple of really cool finds here. Okay, time for Monarchs 101 with DV. Monarchs 101 with DV. Let's roll that open. Here we go. I love production, right? You guys love production? It makes me feel so smart when I do the Monarchs 101 with DV music. My professors outfit on. Makes me feel. My wife's got like 9 degrees, and she's about to be a doctor, and I've got 1 degree, and I need to see a doctor. So there's that. We've been talking about J.L. Wilkinson, and I know it's Black History Month, and I probably should, not probably, I will dive into some things, some thoughts on that next week or 2 weeks from now. But I think J.L. Wilkinson, and for you folks who don't know who J.L. Wilkinson is, and you can find out more about J.L. at the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum there in Kansas City. He was a pioneer, and we talked about his early years. J.L. was a white guy, and he realized that we were all the same. I mean, you can tell the way his life went, the way he lived his life. He was a baseball guy. He also became a bit of a showman, and he also realized everybody was the same. And I'm going to tell you about that right now. We left you off with J.L. Wilkinson, who's the founder of the Kansas City Monarchs in 1920 at the Paseo YMCA there in KC. J.L. Wilkinson's early years playing ball up in Iowa, was injured, was a shortstop that hurt his arm, was pitched a little bit. And his early years, he was a budding player. He was a guy, and I talked about this last week. He was playing for the Hopkins brothers, who were a team there in Des Moines, and those Hopkins brothers wound up along with the short of it, which we talked about this last week. They ran off with the gate receipts. He was sort of wound up the de facto, player, manager, GM, whatever. He was kind of a little everything. He would travel with the Hopkins brothers teams then, and the Hopkins brothers would travel around, which many teams did. You went where the games were. Something the Negro Leagues did very well, something the Monarchs did. They took the game to the people. That all started with J.L. Wilkinson seeing opportunity. And I'm going to tell you about part 2 of the J.L. Wilkinson story right here. I mentioned it. Sorry, I got a little something by there, but don't usually. That was, but I mentioned he went down to Southeast Iowa. They were in a town that was half black and half white. It was a segregated, it was an integrated city, a town. He was impressed the fact that fans were all together. It didn't matter. There was no black section, white section. They were all together. That got his attention in 1908. As we move into the mid-1900s, early 1900s, toward the teens, right before World War I, Hopkins brothers team closed after the 1940, after playing the Blacks, Buxton Wonders, when I talked about 1904. We talked about that. He took over in 1905 as the sole captain, owner, and all that. That was following that team where he was kind of the pseudo figurehead for a year as they floated around. In 1905, following that year in Buxton, Iowa, where he saw the black and white fans get along, he was evidently touched by that. And suddenly his promotional abilities took over. And he decided to go into management, and he went that way. Apparently, the way the legend goes, according to the folks at Sabre, and I'll read this quote to you, the decision to go into management may have been made at the Des Moines sports writer opinion that he was a good defensive shortstop and played with his head, but that he fell short as a hitter. I don't know if that's true or not, but apparently he saw opportunity in baseball, and promotional ability is what he did. He took the Hopkins team on the road in 1905 through Iowa, Minnesota, the Dakotas, booking games and local teams and small towns. And here's where he got, this is way out of your time. When you go to minor league baseball now, you go to a minor league game, you see fireworks, you see a mascot, it's a carnival atmosphere. We open the gates early for happy hour. We have bands playing, all that. That goes on to every ballpark across the country. Well, the 1906, 1907, Wilkinson comes up with a gimmick in 1907 that included scheduling games when state fairs are going on and county fairs are going on. Of course, baseball in the summer, fair is usually late summer into early fall. He was making sure that if a town had a festival, they wanted to be playing baseball in that town. Fair, they want to be playing at the state fair. Iowa State Fair, for example. Reunions, town celebrations, they were doing it. They were taking the games to these towns. So he put the celebration, the whole festival atmosphere, the minor league atmosphere of having an event, he put that in motion with the Hopkins brothers there in 1907 with those fairs and reunions. And people saw a great ball club when they came to the stadium, and they also saw different acts as well. All kinds of things. And then Wilkinson got married in 1908, and he was not real popular with the wife Bessie's parents. They even said that they were shocked that she had taken up with a baseball man, quote unquote. But he was a baseballer, which kind of had a strange connotation. But anyway, but they would grow their family and eventually go to Kansas City. But we'll get to that in a moment. In 1908, Wilkinson disbanded the Hopkins brothers team and created a barnstorming club called the Bloomer Girls, named the Hopkins Brothers Champion Lady Baseball Club. He recruited the best female players he could find, including stars from a female team from Boston, the Boston Bloomer Girls, who played under the name of Carrie Nation, the famous axe-wielding temperance activist and suffragette. If you know your American history, you probably have heard that name. Wilkinson also had 3 male players on that team, so it was a co-ed baseball team that traveled around small towns near and far. Then in 1909, he picked up this Pullman car and put the team on a barnstorming tour with a Pullman car. So he's got this Pullman car. He's got this co-ed baseball team traveling around. He had a bulldog mascot. He took, basically a portable ballpark. If you didn't have a place to play, he brought a canvas stand, a canvas covering to cover the stands. He brought his own seats. He really had it all, way ahead of the lights as well. And in that 1908 season, they brought their own fencing. And of course, he would use the lighting system later on during the late 1920s, but in the 30s. But he was a baseball innovator. And although there were ethnic teams, there were African-American teams, Cuban teams playing throughout America, no one had ever fielded a team made up of different nationalities. He did that. He put together a team of Native Americans, African-Americans, Chinese, Japanese, French, Cuban, anybody, Scots, Germans, you name it, and Caucasian Americans. He put them all together and called the team the All Nations team. So J.L. Wilkinson, realizing in his early years that, and what I love about this is sport is for all of us. You and I may not be from the same town, the same place, the same whatever. We don't vote for the same people, but we all cheer for the same team. And he realized that we were all the same. And he put together a team of everyone, which is what baseball should be. Of course, it would take another, 50 years for he got to that point. This is the 1900s, 1909, 1910. And this team traveled around, the All Nations team, to the 1912. They would went to the West Coast and back down to Iowa again. They traveled around. 1913, they won 119 games, lost 17. The 1915 season, Wilkinson moved to KC, and the club was on its way to a good 16 season, but World War I came around, and they had to put things on hold, and they would pick things up after World War I, and that's really where Wilkinson found the John Donaldsons, the Jose Mendez, Cristobal Torrente, those type of players post World War I. But the foundation was set for baseball for everyone by J.L. Wilkinson, and I think we talk about the social injustice of the times, while the Monarchs were having to play in the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, into the 60s as a separate club, separate black club. J.L. Wilkinson was ahead of his time. He was a white man taking people from all over, putting them in one team, male and female in one case, and he took this whole carnival atmosphere, and it didn't matter the color of the skin, and he definitely was touched by that in that game in Buxton, Iowa in 1908. But again, putting together the All Nations team, we've not talked a lot about that. But the All Nations team combining everyone, every color of skin, all into one for one purpose, to play baseball. And really, baseball, he was ahead of his time then with all the festivals and all the bells and whistles, but he also was ahead of his time realizing that we're all the same. We're all the same people. We're all humans. And we're all humans who love baseball. And J.L. Wilkinson, I think, to me, and I call myself, I'm a white evangelical. I'm the guy who, Dr. King was writing to for the letters of the Birmingham jail all those years later in the 1960s. But J.L. Wilkinson, some 50 years earlier, was the guy out in front. And I don't think we realize just how important this guy, this former pitcher shortstop, was to baseball, and not just baseball, but to social causes. and the reason we all should get along, we all should love, we should all be the same. We should all celebrate baseball and celebrate the Monarchs or whatever team you follow, regardless of what town you're from, regardless of what skin color you have, regardless. That's what J.L. Wilkinson stood for, and he inspires me, and I hope that inspires you here at Monarchs 101 with DV as we close the show with that. Here we go. You bet. No problem. I love to educate the social issues as well. And I'm glad you got something out of that, Brett. Brett also says, I live in Topeka, part of the Savannah Benez group. It'll definitely push the Negro Leagues baseball with them. So many out of town. Yes. I believe, and I don't know this for a fact, but that's something I've heard some in the wind, that they're definitely going to be some kind of crossover there. Again, I'm going to say it again. And thank you very much, Muriel. Appreciate it. You cannot be a fan of the Monarchs. You cannot be a fan of baseball. You cannot be a fan of life and not go to the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. It's part of the and my wife and I had a chance to go to Memphis, the Lorraine Motel back in December. And I got to tell you, the Civil Rights Trail, which now the museum is part of, is one if you get a chance to go, you should go. And I've not been to Birmingham, I've been to Birmingham. It's been a while. I've been to the sites down in Selma and Birmingham, but I've been through there. But it's been years. If you've not been to the Civil Rights Trail, places like the Lorraine Motel in Memphis or the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum in Kansas City, you got to go. I mean, my wife and I can't describe that, and we're going to review that on our travel podcast she and I are doing, and I'll let you guys know about that when that episode comes up. But again, the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum in KC, you got to go. NLBM.com is the place to go where history touches home. Bob Kendrick and Kiana and the entire crew down there, great partners of ours with the Kansas City Monarchs. All right, sorry for the technical difficulties. We are out of time. I want to get a couple things to you quickly as we close out here, rounding third, and I'm halfway home and about to slide in, get my slide in. I want to give you a couple things. This was from last weekend. Monty, the mascot of the Monarchs, I don't know if you guys know this, but Monty perhaps has another career, perhaps. Monty, stick to your summer job, because it looks like you. I'm going to move the camera. There we go. Sorry about that. Monty, you will stick to your summer job there. But Monty playing a little hockey there. That was last weekend. That was there with the Kansas City Mavericks, of course, minor league hockey team there in Kansas City. And Monty, it was the mascot. What's the mascot there's name? Is it Mac? I think that's right. What is his name there? I got it somewhere. Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah, Monty, it's Mac. Yeah, Mac's birthday. He's the mascot of the Mavericks. You saw that was at the Cable Down Arena. You had the Chiefs mascot, and you had Whataburger's mascot. By the way, there's a Whataburger next to the stadium. But yeah, Monty playing hockey. We love that. Good to see Monty doing his hockey thing there last week. All right, final call on questions, comments. I'm here to take anything as we wrap this thing up. A couple more things to tell you about. It is Valentine's weekend. If you've not made your reservations wherever you live, whether it be KC, the Metroplex, Timbuktu, better get on it because you're going to be SOL, if you know what I mean. I was in the grocery store yesterday. The chocolate-covered strawberries are big players. Here's one for you right here. This came out today. The perfect day for Valentine's Day. Get a red tea. Those specials going on right now at monarchsbaseball.com. Also, more on that. We'll kind of lead you the post here. The Team stores open Monday through Friday, 10 to 4 p.m. And you can spread the love, get yours today. A red tee, perfect for Valentine's Day. The Rain Reborn looks good. They all look good. They're all really good. I think I've got 2 of those. But the Monarchs baseball with one of our red tees there, and check those out as well. A couple of things as well coming up as well. I mentioned Savannah Bananas. I do want to get to this, and you were talking about it too, Brett. Bananas are coming. I don't know how many people saw this, and I hope you did. But the Bananas are coming on the 6th of May. They're also sold out the first ball game. What are they going to do? An encore? They're coming back for number 2. I'm going to move back here. Game number 2 is game 1 sold out. Game 2, it's sold out too. How about that news? That's going to be a big weekend, May 6th and 7th at Legends Field in KCK. The Savannah Bananas Banana Ball coming, and it'll be a busy, busy time as we lead up to opening week there with the Monarchs. Speaking of a big weekend plan too, that opening, it's not too. I mean, granted, it's a little ways away, but we're not too early to start kind of thinking about opening day and the opening weekend. Here's the opening weekend, May 13th, 14th, and 15th. Book a group today. Operators are standing by. Go to monarchsbaseball.com or make the phone call, and they will take care of you, get you set up. Group outings, suites. That's a big weekend. I'm sure there'll be championship banners and rings and all that. And Monarchs baseball returning May 13th, 14th, and 15th at Legends Field in Kansas City. What else we got to close with? A couple more items here. Oh, yeah. I'm kind of bouncing around here to scramble to get this all in. Here we go. There is this one also for you folks. Think Pink, another Valentine's Day promotion as well. That'd be a good looking for your Valentine lady friend. Valentine's Day. You know, I'd wear the pink caps. I wear pink on Sundays, so it shouldn't just be for a lady. Can anybody want that? I love that cap. That's good looking. So again, you can get those too at monarchsbaseball.com. All right, one more thing to do. I want to share this with you before we get out of here. So I'm kind of scrambling to catch up. We had to get this all rolling. But I don't know if you saw this. I saw this morning. And we're talking about education, the Negro Leagues, and our responsibility as adults to educate the youngsters in our world. I love this post that the Monarchs tweeted out a little while ago, and I'll get the screen for you there. But this young lady, let me get this off so you guys can see that a little better. But Manny Abacar, I'm sorry, Ababarca. Yeah, Manny Albarca. Sorry about that, Manny. I really butchered your name there. Abacar. Cuteness alert. Camille picked out her Monarch shirt to wear to school today while she got dressed. We got to talk about the history of the league and the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. Got to take every moment to educate and celebrate Black History Month and Kansas City history. Amen, 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 Manny. You nailed it right there, and great stuff right there. That little youngster, what a cutie. And she is wearing her Monarchs shirt, picked it out, and the family took the time to educate her as well. And I hope we're all doing that. I say it every time. I mean, we have a responsibility to show more love, more empathy, just in general to everybody, to our mankind. And we need to do more of that. And I hope we are doing that as we go forward here. And I say it, let's be better tomorrow than we were today. Yeah, it is cute, by the way. It is very, very cute. Sorry about that. Bring that down. There we go. It's a responsibility. We need to be educating the youngsters and telling them about what it is that we're talking about. I mean, I think we sometimes forget that, we used to assume that kids don't get it. But I'm going to tell you a story last night. I'll close with this before we get out of here. I met some old high school mates, a couple of them hadn't seen in 30 some odd years. And we were chatting and they asked me about, you're with the new team. And I said, well, not a new team necessarily. It's a team that, we've been around before, but, I explained. So I finally realized I just couldn't, I didn't want to, I dove into it and explained to them the whole story of the Kansas City Monarchs. And you'll be amazed at how many people have sort of heard about it, but sort of haven't heard about it. They sort of like, wait, I kind of know about that, but I kind of don't. And you'd be amazed at how many people are just like, they want to hear. And we have a responsibility to let people know and to let them know about Reign Reborn, and about the Negro Leagues Museum, and about that legacy of what those brave men and women went through, and how we show love for each other today. And it's all part of what we do. And I hope that we all will be a part of that going forward. All right. Glad you guys joined me. By the way, this show, the podcast version will be on at 5 a.m. Wherever you get your podcast, it's there. You can check it out. I've got, you name it, Apple, wherever. It's all there. You go check it out. Amazon, they're all there. It'll drop at 5 a.m. But if I get it done this afternoon, I'll put it up early, and I'll have John West and also some bonus content, a Monarchs flashback moment from Monarchs yesteryear, part of our Negro Leagues Baseball Museum partnership. Again, thanks for stopping by. I say it every time. I keep saying it. Let's be better tomorrow than we were today. Let's show more love tomorrow than we did today going forward in 2022. Dan Vaughn, so thankful you fought through it today with me. I know we had some technical problems, but thank you. Much love to all of you. You guys ready for a Go Monarchs? Say, Go Monarchs. I'm ready. Are you ready? All right, here we go. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Go Monarchs. I'll see you next time, everybody. Oh, by the way, hold on. Max is asleep, but he says hi. There he is, folks. He says hi. I'll see you next time, everybody. Much love to y'all.